After the high priestess teaches the fool to listen from within, the Empress invites them to create, nurture, and embrace the beauty of existence. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Elizabeth and I share deck flip-throughs, spreads, VRs, and so much more. Welcome back to the Fool's Journey. Today we're going to be immersing ourselves into the energy of the Empress. This energy radiates fertility, abundance, and natural creativity. And they are, in essence, the bridge between the ethereal wisdom of the High Priestess and the tangible world of manifestation. Let's take a look at the symbolism. So here we're looking at the universal weight and tarot disassembled. And one of the first things that you notice is her beautiful flowing gown, her crown. These are really connected to the cycles of nature, but also to cosmic energy. Really, there's this sense of universal abundance. In her crown, we're going to see 12 stars. Now, some people say that those are the 12 months of the year. Others are going to say that they are representing the 12 signs of the zodiac. And then on the gown, we see the pomegranate. We learned from the high priestess that the pomegranate is representing abundance, fertility, the womb, right? Divine feminine energy. In addition to that, you're going to see the very lush landscape around her. You know, we see the trees, there's water, there's this field of wheat, and all of that has a meaning as well. The landscape is a reminder of growth, of beauty, of creation, right? All of these things are things that thrive when they're nurtured with love. And that's what we see here in the cards. Now we have the symbol of Venus here at her feet, and that represents love, harmony, sensuality, the joy of existence. And then here we can see the field of wheat. And that is speaking to the fruits of labor, prosperity, the ability to bring dreams into reality. All of these things are the manifestation. Now, way in the back here, we see a little river that maybe kind of falls into a waterfall, right? We can see the water represented here as well. Water is connecting the Empress to the depths of feeling, of intuition, of that sense of emotional openness. She isn't just about creation, she fosters growth through love and connection. The Empress is here to teach us that creation is an act of love. Now, I talked a little bit earlier about manifestation, really, right? Creativity and manifestation. So, this is the power to bring something new into the world, whether it's art, business, or even personal transformation. This card also has this sense of nurturing and care, right? This energy thrives in love. Uh, Tending to what needs attention so that it can flourish. And then there's also a sense of personal growth here. It's a reminder that we are all constantly evolving, expanding, and really creating our own reality. As a side note, I want to touch on one thing. A lot of times, this card is represented by uh, a pregnant empress. And this is something that sometimes touches a nerve for some people. And I just want to touch on that for just a moment. The idea behind the pregnant figure is obviously symbolizing fertility and abundance, but it's important to recognize that the energy is bigger than that of physical pregnancy, if that makes sense, right? She represents creation in all forms, whether it's birthing ideas, nurturing relationships, or cultivating growth in our own life. Let's talk about the Empress in everyday life. Now, unlike the High Priestess who dwells in mystery, the Empress is fully present. The Empress is grounded, the Empress is expressive. Her energy appears in everyday moments. If you're a creative person, maybe you've experienced that sense of creative flow when inspiration pours right through you, whether it's through painting or writing, designing, or even dreaming. And it doesn't have to be art. It could be as simple as styling that perfect outfit or the presentation of your holiday meal, right? The Empress is the spark that is behind that artistic expression. You can also see this energy in terms of nurturing and care, supporting a loved one, tending to plants, caring for yourself, for a pet. She reminds us that love and care, they're going to create growth. And then we have manifesting dreams, seeing a vision come to life, turning ideas into tangible success. So she is abundance in action. Okay. The Empress reminds us that creativity isn't just about art. Okay. Sometimes we have to use our creativity to do other things like build or nurture or flourish in the things that we do. The Empress is number 3, and she's connected to the threes of the tarot. All the threes in the tarot represent the ideas of expansion, growth, creation. So they reflect the energy of transformation. So when we look at the Three of Wands, there's vision, there's expansion, there's that preparation for success. It's the first step towards bringing dreams to life. And then we have the Three of Cups. Here we see celebration, friendship, joy, right? The Empress thrives in community and shared happiness. I know we're going to talk about the Three of Swords and its connection to the Empress. But, here we're looking at painful growth, healing after heartbreak, right? Because even challenges are going to create wisdom. And then lastly, we have the Three of Pentacles. Here we see, collaboration, we see mastery, but we also see building something valuable, right? Bringing vision into reality with teamwork. Each of the threes kind of echoes the Empress's lesson of growth coming in many forms. But here's the key, right? When it's nurtured, it always leads to transformation, right? We can get that inkling from spirit, right? That it's time for something. But if we ignore it and we don't do anything with it, it's not going to lead to this. So the key there is listening and then nurturing it. Let's look at the Empress in comparison to some other cards. So here we have the card from the Rosebud, and here we can see it's been renamed to Life Giver. So here, instead of seeing her kind of pregnant, we already see her with child in arm, and we can see that sense of nurturing that is happening here. I love the little statue here in the background, super cute. But I really feel like this card gives a sense of that nurturing that I was talking about earlier. In the Samdala, the key word is creation, and we've talked about that, right? It's beyond nurturing, it's an active force for making, shaping, and manifesting. So I really like that word. I wanted to show both of these as well. So here we see Tarot of Light using the keyword mother, and then here in the Vision Quest, we see the keyword grandmother, and I actually love both of those. This is going to speak to ancestral wisdom. It shows her more as a guiding matriarch who is going to be passing down sacred knowledge. And I love the turtle in the back because, of course, that makes me think of Gaia, right? Turtle Island. And it's a reminder of the abundance that comes when we take care of the planet appropriately. Here we have Aphrodite. In this deck, we are seeing the Empress as the goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, embracing sensuality and joy and harmony. I wanted to show the Sasarai Beetle as well because it is one of the cards that I feel like really also shows this same, this sense of beauty and pleasure and embracing our own sensuality. So I really love this depiction. Here, this is Tarot of the Strange Branches, and this is the Mermaid Tarot. So here we can see a very earthy, grounded Empress, and here we see a very watery Empress, of course, because of the themes of the different decks. But I really like the energy here. I love the sense of growth that is coming. Um, it almost seems like it's coming right from within and then being manifested into the physical. And even though this Empress here, at first glance, you might think, oh, it's kind of more on the High Priestess side, but I do see that Empress energy here. Of course, she's a mermaid, so we see her in water, but she still has her crown with the 12. Maybe in this case, they're pearls. We do see the trees in the background, the water, that flow. She's pregnant, so we can see that the idea of the womb and fertility and abundance. It's just a really beautiful card. Here we have the Empress from the Shimmering Veil. I really like this card. You get that sense of cosmic, ethereal, universal. This for me has always felt more like an energy. I love how that hand is drawing in the energy and how she in turn nurtures the infant in her arms. Gosh, I just love this depiction. This for me is definitely embodying the idea of universal abundance. Now, here we have the Empress from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. Very different, very different. We do see the infant, the embryo, if you will. It is still inside the womb, so it's almost like you can see it. It's not manifested yet, but she's manifesting. She already has the crown in her hands ready. I love how they show the dress is almost like a transformation of a flower opening up and ready to be pollinated. I don't know. It's just such a great image. And it shows the Empress energy in a very different way. I also wanted to look at a few nature-based cards. So here we have the Empress from Tarot of Oneness. And here what we're seeing is the mother elephant with the baby elephant. And I really like this. We can see the crown here, the laurel wreath. We still have the sign of Venus and that mothering energy, that, form of protection. Actually, see a pomegranate right over here. It's just a beautiful card. There's a lot of abundance and growth and flowers all in bloom. So it gives you that same kind of idea. Here we have naturescapes and tarot landscape. Now, very beautiful energies, very different, right? Here we're seeing that lush landscape. It's almost like the sky's the limit, right? I really love to see this card here. And then this one, it's almost nature, right? Nature based. We can see a deer off here, the beauty, the abundance, a gorgeous card that still evokes that same kind of energy that we get, because I feel like Mother Nature is the most creative. She just is. I mean, there is such beauty when we step out into nature to be seen, to be observed, and so much to be learned. So much to be learned. What happens when the Empress is in reverse? All right. So here we have Cirque du Tarot. And this deck, I've spoken about this before. It's quite interesting because the characters in this performance, right, Cirque, we can see them throughout various cards. So in this card, we're actually seeing the Fool. Right? We see the Fool, we see the Empress. The Empress is pregnant. We see the bunnies just hopping all over the place and things are out of control. The Empress doesn't seem to be caring. She's just laying there ringing her little bell. She's got her treats on her little cart. And the Fool is running around ragged trying to get the bunnies back into their, area of confinement. So here we have this idea that the Empress is going to teach the Fool how to create, how to nurture, right? The beauty of existence. But here, you don't really see that sense of teaching. It's almost like you've been thrown in, no manual, no guidance, and you have to kind of figure it out on your own. So it's interesting when you see these different interpretations in various decks. And I think this is why it's so awesome to have a collection of decks and to look at them periodically together, because you learn something different from every single card. One more example of the Empress in reverse. Here we have the Empress from the Bohemian Gothic. You can see she's dressed in green. She's got that gorgeous gown, her crown. She's posing for a picture, a family picture. You can see the child next to her. Does not want to be a part of it, does not want to be next to her at all, right? And remember, the Empress energy is talking about nurturing things. It speaks of Empress energy as caring for something. But in this case, we see perhaps someone from maybe a very wealthy background, maybe someone who is utilizing nannies, caregivers, right? Someone that is coming in her place to take care of those less desirable things that we do as mothers. And I want to come back to this card here because we see this often where the child forms a bond with the caregiver who is, in essence, giving life. and has a more difficult time with the matriarchal figure. There's no connection. So again, I'm sharing this because I think it's an important distinction of the Empress. The fact that it's not just beauty and abundance and growth. Yes, it is those things, but the key thing is that there's a sense of nurturing and care that goes into this energy. That is what leads to this connection instead of this one here. Friends, if you love tarot and are interested in learning more about the archetypes, please be sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. If you know someone who might benefit from the series, feel free to share. That's another wonderful way to help smaller channels like mine get their voices heard. Thank you so much. Let's do a little spread to learn more about this Empress energy. So for today, I'm going to be using the Metamuse Tarot. This is a gorgeous collage style deck, and I think it'll be perfect for this reading. So we're going to draw 3 cards today. And the first card is, what am I currently creating or nurturing in my life? What am I currently creating or nurturing in my life? So we're going to draw a card. And as usual, I will leave the questions in the description box below if you would like to do this spread as well. All right. Ooh, interesting. Move this over. So we have the 5 of Pentacles. All right. And then card number 2. How can I embrace abundance and beauty more fully? Right? How can I embrace abundance and beauty more fully? Ooh. The 2 of Swords. Oh my goodness. I feel like every time I do these, we get these really profound readings. Wow. All right. Card number 3. What blessings are ready to bloom? What blessings are ready to bloom? Oh, wow. All right. So we have the 10 of Cups. That's cool. So taking a quick look here and kind of absorbing what I'm seeing. So we have here the 5 of Pentacles. So we have earth, we have air, we have water. Then we have a 5, which is typically a challenging number. We have the 2 here and then 10, right? And ending to make space for a beginning. Let's start with card 1. What am I currently creating or nurturing in my life? Well, we have a difficult card. We have the 5 of Pentacles. And so as we sit here and reflect what's growing, what's evolving, perhaps we are oftentimes finding ourselves in these difficult situations, and we are perhaps learning how to maneuver those energies. Maybe we are doing a bit of soul searching, perhaps looking to see if there is anyone that is out there and available to even help. So I like that for this card because oftentimes life is hard, life is challenging, and we do face these moments where things all of a sudden seem dark. We don't know what to do. But if we're looking at what we're creating or nurturing, perhaps it's finding a way to overcome this. Maybe it's realizing that we're not alone in these situations, that there are tools, that there are resources that help us get through these, and that perhaps we're learning how to tap on or engage our own energy to help us through these things, because a lot of the times the things that we need are already within us, right? But we get so overwhelmed, we get so bogged down that it makes it difficult to connect with that. Okay, what do I have in this moment that I could bring to the table that's going to help me out of this situation? Sometimes we have to get creative. Again, that's what the Empress is talking about. We have to get creative with what we have and do the best that we can with our situation. So maybe what we're, um, what is growing or what is revolving around me is maybe learning how to cope and learning how to manage this energy so that next time you're not sitting in this for long periods of time. Now here we have card number 2. How can I embrace abundance and beauty more fully? In other words, how can we take a step closer to welcoming in joy and prosperity? Well, we have the card of indecision, right? We have the Two of Swords. For me, the twos are about balance. And so maybe a step in the right direction is having this moment to kind of clear out all the noise, to find our center, to come into balance, to be able to see and recognize, right? We can't embrace abundance and beauty if we can't see it. And we can't see it if we're distracted. So, how do we fix this? Taking time to sit quietly, eliminate the noise, and put things into perspective. Card number 3, we have this amazing card. What blessings are ready to bloom for me, right? This is going to be a vision of what is manifesting, what we're trying to manifest. And we see the happily ever after card. uh, I always like to say this is a snapshot in time. This is the end result, right? The desired goal. So I love this. If you're a person who likes vision boards, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's important to have that image in your mind of what it is that you're trying to accomplish so that you can stay focused and do what you need to do. But we can't if we're constantly overwhelmed by thought, or if we feel plagued and we sit in these lack energies for too long. This Empress energy here is reminding us that we have to find ways to be creative. We have to find ways to see how to take what we have and make something better with it, right? That's that sense of manifestation. We have to find ways to clear the clutter, to help us see, to get to this place that we're trying to, this could mean something different for every single person that is watching right now. Perhaps this, 10 of Cups moment means a family. Perhaps it means a better living situation. Perhaps it means better finances, a new job, right? Whatever that 10 of Cups moments is, that's going to bring that sense of accomplishment and fill your heart. This is what the Empress is calling us to do, is kind of keep that in mind. Don't forget what you're trying to do. Don't get distracted by this and this, and focus on this instead, is what it's saying. If we go back to this Empress energy, we see the Empress and card 1, what I'm currently creating or nurturing in my life. And we had the 5 of Pentacles, right? So this is a place where, maybe this is something that is difficult for you, right? Maybe you struggle with kind of like that lack mentality. This could be financial, it could be emotional, it could even be spiritual. But the Empress is reminding us that abundance, it's not always available. Sometimes it requires that you shift the way that you think of things, and then instead nurture other qualities within yourself. For example, resilience or resourcefulness, right? This could be asking you to maybe ask for support or rebuild that sense of stability, or maybe find new ways to cultivate growth, right? And then over here, we had the Two of Swords for how can I embrace abundance more fully? Well, this here is a crossroads, right? There's indecision. Do we trust ourselves, right? Do we trust ourselves? Maybe we sometimes feel hesitation. The Empress is wanting to encourage us always to move past uncertainty and embrace your creative power. It's something that we all have. It could be a choice, a shift in mindset. Maybe it's releasing old fears. This is asking you to stop holding yourself back. Stop holding yourself back, because why? Because there's something better for you. Here we have the 10 of Cups. What blessings are ready to bloom for me, right? This is amazing. The 10 of Cups, emotional fulfillment. We have joy, we have love, we have harmony, we have everything here, right? There's this effort towards self-care, bringing yourself into alignment. We can see that here. And sorry, I'll put the cards down because I get excited and I start shaking. So yeah, this is suggesting that by embracing what we have and shifting a few things, you're already on your way to true happiness and connection. Remembering that happiness comes from within. Happiness is not something that comes from other people. Other people do not make us happy. I'm going to say that again in as loving a way as possible. Our happiness comes from within us. If we're looking for happiness through someone else, in someone else, it's going to be difficult to find. Okay? So this card here is a reminder, right? The Empress is affirming that when you nurture what matters most, abundance is going to flow naturally. Okay? This is such a great reading. And I swear, I feel like every time I do these, we have these powerful readings, but that only tells me that this is a message that the collective needs to hear. I feel like there are many of us that are dealing with these situations and finding it difficult. And we are living in very trying times. So hopefully you found something here that you can kind of take away for yourself to help you, embrace that energy of the Empress. The Empress is reminding us that life itself, it's an act of creation. Every choice, every moment, every dream, if nurtured, they're going to add beauty to the world. Okay? The Empress is teaching us that abundance isn't just wealth, it's actually love, it's creativity, it's joy, and it's thriving in the present moment. When next we meet, we are going to meet the Emperor. This is about stepping into structure, stability, and leadership as the Fool's journey continues. Remember to subscribe and follow along as we unlock the major arcana. Thanks for watching. Bye.